Hi, welcome to How to Sew with Laura. I am your guide to all things design. Today we're going to learn how to sew a straight seam and a back stitch. And this is a follow-up to the first video, which was an introduction to machine basics, which were basically how to thread the machine. So today we're going to do a straight stitch, and our project is this blouse that I'm wearing. It's very simple. It's got a very simple neck. Very simple. There's no set-in sleeve on this one. The next one we'll get to set-in sleeves. So I have here, my pattern pieces are cut out. In the next video, I will show how to cut a pattern. And all I'm doing is I'm lining up a shoulder seam. Most patterns have a way to line up your pattern pieces. My pattern, since I make my own, I use a notch system. So I have little notches and I line up my notches. You can use pins to hold it in place if you want to. I use one pin where it's necessary. Most of the time my personal preference is to not use pins because they tend to distort fabric. So use as few pins as you possibly can get away with. First time sewers, you'll probably end up in a short seam like this, putting in maybe 3 pins. And that's fine, 1 at each end, 1 in the middle. Okay, so now we're going to sew. You have your pieces lined up, your edges lined up. Remember, your machine should have some designation for where you can line up your lines to line up the edge for a 1/2 inch seam or a 3/4 seam, a 3/8 seam, excuse me, or a 5/8 seam. So you line it up with that edge. Okay, so we have our seam edge lined up with the number 1 on my machine, which designates a 1/2 inch seam, which means there's a 1/2 inch from the edge to where you're going to stitch. That's how much seam allowance there is. And I hold my threads behind me, just an old habit. Some modern machines, you don't have to hold these threads. I just do it out of habit. And to show straight stitch, it's pretty easy. And I've picked a fabric that is a little bit fussy because it's an eyelet, it has these little things on it. But all you do, and I'm going really slow, you can go really fast if you want to, but I suggest trying it slow first. So once I've got a little bit of fabric behind me, I hold the fabric behind, I hold the fabric in front, just to make sure that I'm guiding. I'm not pulling, I'm just guiding it. I'm keeping it along that line that designates my seam. This particular neckline is a little bit funky because it's a boat neck. Boat necks are funky, and I probably could have chosen a round neck, but I like boat neck. And I have somebody in mind for this top, so we're just doing this one seam. It's a small seam, very simple. When I get to the end of the seam, I am going to do a little bit of a back stitch to hold it in place. So I'm almost at the end. I'm 1 stitch away from my end. On this machine, my back stitch button is right here in the front. I push that. I go back 3 stitches. That's all. And you let go. You always have to hold it in while you're doing the back stitch on this particular machine. On some machines, they have a way for you to hold it in for 3 seconds, let go, and it will keep back stitching, and then you have to press it again to make it stop. That's our lesson for today. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Next week, I will show you how to cut a pattern. Don't forget to like and subscribe for weekly How to Sew videos. Leave your questions, video suggestions, and comments below. Thanks for watching, and until next time, I'm Laura Tanzer.